In today's headlines, pharmacies, drugstores eyed as job sites. Department of Energy, National Grid Corporation of the Philippines map contingency plans. Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines welcomes no vax, no ride policy. COMELEC equipment to undergo forensic examination. Retroactive testing, quarantine rules okayed. Oil price hike to keep inflation simmering. Twitter bans Iran's supreme leader. Good morning, I am Kim Sancha and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Today is the 17th of January 2022 and here are the latest news of this Monday morning. In a bid to solve the lack of vaccinators, the government is planning to tap pharmacies and drugstores as vaccination sites, the Department of Health or DOH said Sunday. In a text message to the Daily Tribune, Health Undersecretary Mirna Cabotaje confirmed that the government is in talks with private pharmacies to allow them to administer COVID-19 vaccines. Cabotaje said that they are facilitating and coordinating with pharmacies as they are willing to help local government units, especially these items, and even in the future. She added that they are now working with them along with the private sectors, National Task Force Against COVID-19, the regional offices, and even the LGUs. Cabotaje, who is also the chairperson of the National Vaccination Operations Center, or NVOC, said that the government will deploy COVID-19 vaccines to pharmacies with the help of LGU. Asked if pharmacies could ensure the safety and efficacy of the vaccines, the official noted that pharmacies have the capability to properly store the vaccines and mentioned that they will conduct a pilot rollout to see the processes. Cabotaje noted that they are already crafting the operational guidelines, which are expected to be released this week. The Department of Energy, or DOE, said it is awaiting the generation companies, or GenCos, submission of their respective proposed maintenance schedules to finalize the Grid Operating and Maintenance Program, or GOMP, policy. The GOMP is the schedule of planned or maintenance outages of GenCos and transmission facilities, which should be submitted to and approved by the DOE. In a press statement Sunday, the DOE said GOMP policy would allow them to come up with accurate power supply and demand projections for the coming year. Under the DOE Circular DC 2020-02-004, there should be clear guidelines on the planned outage, schedules of power plants, and transmission facilities. The order also requires public posting of under the DOE Circular DC 2020-02-004. There should be a clear guidelines on the planned outage schedules of power plants and transmission facilities. It is also requires public posting of the GOMP. The circular also clearly states that only the hydroelectric power plants shall be allowed to conduct power plant maintenance during the peak quarter. Under Section 3 of the DC 2020-02-0004, GenCos are required to submit their 3-year plan outage schedules to the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, which serves as a basis for the crafting of the GOMP. Meanwhile, the NGCP should submit the GOMP on the last day of October of each year for review and approval of the DOE, which then directs the necessary adjustments in the generation and transmission plan outage schedules. Both of the DOE and the NGCP agreed that GenCos should strictly adhere to their maintenance schedule submissions in the recently approved GOMP 2022 to 2024. On Sunday, Energy Secretary Alfonso G. Cusi said the DOE and NGCP virtually convened for their regular meeting to discuss the power demand and supply outlook for the year. He said the DOE is mapping out contingency plans to secure additional power supply in preparation for the demand increase in the days leading up to, during, and in the immediate aftermath of the elections, which also happened to fall on a summer month. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, along with major local airlines in the country, expressed its support for Department Order 2022-001 issued by the Department of Transportation, or DOTR, that will implement the no vaccination, no ride policy. In a memorandum, CAAP also limited the access of public transportation facilities to vaccinated population in its commitment to keep the Philippine skies safe despite the challenges brought about by the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 and the Omicron threat. CAAP said that the implementation of the no vaccination, no entry policy will be applied to all individuals entering CAAP operated facilities and to domestic passengers traveling to and from the National Capital Region or NCR via any domestic or foreign air operators. The Memorandum Circular 02-2022 will remain in full force and in effect while the COVID-19 alert level in NCR is at alert level 3 or higher as may be determined by the Interagency Task Force. CAAP Director General Captain Jim Sidionco stressed that prioritizing the safety of the people is a must, and the DOTR's directive will reinforce the importance of ensuring the public spaces such as airport terminals and aircraft remain as safe spaces for everyone. Sidionco added that the Philippine Airlines, Cebu Pacific, and AirAsia Philippines also approve of the Transport Department's directive. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Si Harry Roque ang pinakamagaling na spokesman, kaya inggit sa kanya ang oposisyon.
Tama lang na ipinaglaban ko ang balik trabaho para bumalik ang kita ng mga nagtatrabaho at naghahanap buhay. Hindi pwedeng magutom ang pamilya. Dapat lang po ingat buhay para sa hanap buhay. Basta trabaho, kita at hanap buhay ang nakataya. Nasa harap niyo po ako.
Ibigay natin ang tudong suporta kay Harry.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
We are back on Tribune News on Q. In other news, the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, disclosed on Sunday that a digital forensic examination of some equipment of the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, will be conducted to determine if the recent reports of hacking were true. According to NBI officer in charge Eric Destor, the Bureau's experts will start its probe on the reported hacking of the poll body as they were tasked to closely coordinate with the COMELEC during the forensic examination. Destor said that he already mobilized their cybercrime division as well as the National Capital Region and special project teams to closely coordinate with the COMELEC. To recall, Department of Justice or DOJ Secretary Menardo Guevara tasked the NBI to mobilize its cybercrime division and special project team after the COMELEC sought their assistance. Destor said they are closely coordinating with the proper authorities through their ID for any development. In the initial examination conducted by the cyber experts of the NBI, they noted that there were no evidence of hacking at the Comelec warehouse after they conducted a site inspection in Santa Rosa, Laguna on Saturday amid reports of alleged hacking of data for the May 2022 polls. Guevara, on the other hand, said that they looked into the matter closely as certain documents were turned over to the NBI for validation and authentication, and stressed that there will be a thorough investigation and it is now in progress. The Comelec, meantime, gave an assurance that its system was not linked to the internet or any other network that could expose IT to hacking. According to Comelec Commission's Marlon Cascuejo, the NBI saw that their system is not connected to the internet or any network and their data is not yet generated. Thus, hackers cannot get anything because the poll body still does not have data generated in Santa Rosa. The country's COVID-19 Pandemic Task Force has approved the retroactive application of the new policy on testing and quarantine for international travelers who arrive in the Philippines on or before the 13th of January. In a statement, Acting Presidential Spokesperson and Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said that the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF-MEID, has approved the retroactive application of Resolution 157, which will make the testing and quarantine protocols retroactive for those who came from green and yellow list countries. Under the Resolution 157, fully vaccinated international travelers from green countries should present negative reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, or RT-PCR, taken within 48 hours prior to their departure from the country of origin. The resolution said upon arrival, they shall no longer be required to observe mandatory facility-based quarantine, but shall self-monitor for any sign or symptoms for 7 days, with the first day being the date of arrival. Unvaccinated or partially vaccinated travelers will be required to present a negative RT-PCR test taken within 48 hours prior to their departure from the country of origin. Additionally, they shall be required to undergo facility-based quarantine until the release of their negative RT-PCR tests taken on the 5th day, after which they are enjoined to self-monitor for any symptoms for 14 days, with the first day being the date of arrival. Meanwhile, fully vaccinated travelers from yellow list countries are required to present a negative RT-PCR test prior to their departure from the country of origin. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, or BSP, projected inflation will ease to below the midpoint in the first quarter before it again elevates in the second to fourth quarter, the central bank had said. BSP Governor Benjamin Jokno said that BSP forecasts that it will average within the 2 to 4% target range in the next 2 years, 3.4% in 2022, and 3.2% in 2023. The BSP's inflation projection is based on the assumption that Dubai crude oil will average $72.66 per barrel in 2022 and $68.74 per barrel in 2023. The governor added that they explored various oil price scenarios ranging from $50 to $100 per barrel, and the assumption is that oil prices are sustained at these levels starting January 2022. The results of this simulation was that inflation could settle above the target range if crude oil prices average higher than $95 per barrel for 2022 and 2023. Moreover, the scenario considered only the direct effects and did not incorporate any potential second-round effects on transport fares, food prices and wage increase, among others. Diokno added that other things constant, their inflation forecast for 2022 and 2023 would hold unless world crude prices settle above $95 per barrel from January 2022 until December 2023. He said that their analysis supports the view that future oil prices remain in backward action, whereas near-term contracts have a higher price compared to longer-term contracts. This view is consistent with the latest assessment of international energy agencies. Unlike in 2021, where the oil industry was in deficit position, demand exceeded supply in 2022. The industry will be in surplus position or supply exceeds demand. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Ngayong Lunes sa The Athletes Tribune Season 2. Alamin ang mga latest update.
Number one sa team, adapting the new system kasi bago coach, bago lahat, and getting to know the teammates din, may bagong adjustments.
Makisaya sa makulit na kwentuhan.
Ano ba sa tingin mo yung best lesson na natutunan mo sa paglalaro mo dito rin sa Pilipinas na nadala mo rin pala dyan next job?
Siguro yung pinaka-advantage na dalawa na natulang sa Pilipinas, yung physicality tsaka yung gulang na tinatawag nila.
Mas kilalanin pa natin ang Pinoy Pride, UAAP standout and former MPBL player, ang power forward ng Shinshu Brave Warriors in Japan V-League, Matthew Aquino. January 17, Monday at 7 p.m. sa all-new season ng The Athletes Tribune.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
Oh, vaccination, isolation, gotta keep up with my nutrition, gotta maintain my body condition, then I can take my vaccination. What do I choose? What do I take? As long as it is not a fake. AstraZeneca, Moderna, BioNTech, even Sinovac, okay na. Pababakuna ka ba? 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 Vaccination for the nation, no more isolation. With vaccination, pababakuna ka ba? 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 Paturok, paturok, paturok.
This public service advisory is brought to you by Daily Tribune and 100.3 RJFM.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
You're still watching Tribune News on Q. For our international news, Twitter said Saturday it had permanently suspended an account linked to Iran's supreme leader that posted a video calling for revenge for a top general's assassination against former United States President Donald Trump. A Twitter spokesperson told Agency France-Presse that the agent reference has been permanently suspended for violating Twitter's ban evasion policy. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's main accounts in various languages remain active. Last year, another similar account was suspended by Twitter over a post also appearing to reference revenge against Trump. The recent video titled "Revenge is Definite" was also posted on Khamenei's official website. According to Twitter, the company's top priority is keeping people safe and protecting the health of the conversation on the platform. The social media giant says it has clear policies around abusive behavior and will take action when violations are identified. As head of the Quds Force, the foreign operations arm of Iran's Revolutionary Guards, Soleimani was the architect of its strategy in the Middle East. He and his Iraqi lieutenant were killed by a U.S. drone strike outside Baghdad airport on the 3rd of January 2020. That wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store, Araneta City, the Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Haina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Kim Sancha and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.